Hello, hello, everybody. How is everyone doing today? How is everyone doing today? Today we're live now. Ramona, they're not seeing us just yet, but just setting up
Hola.
a few things. Ramona saying hi. I'm so happy that 9 of you are with us tonight because we're literally
Yay.
clashing with Beanie Man and Bounty right now. So I appreciate. Hi. So just so you know, if you're viewing from the Facebook, we won't be able to actually see your name. It's just a permission. So if you want us to call you by your name, you need to drop it into the actual comment itself. So we're seeing Facebook users saying hi, but we don't know who it is. So you gotta tell us who you are right now. So let me just officially welcome the wonderful lady of the moment, Ramona. So once again, hi everyone. Anika here from Island Mom. This is Island Mom After Dark, and we are back. So it took a little bit of a break. There was a lot of stuff going on, and just needed a moment to kind of catch my breath. But we're coming back, and we're coming back with a whole slew of content going forward. And what better way than to kick things off with Ramona Spence Riley. I know her as Spence originally. She know me as Rapole originally.
Yes.
And what better way to kick things off with a really heightened discussion about orgasms? Like, duh, right? So, welcome, Ramona, the Vagina Lady.
Thank you, my darling. Thank you so much for having me. I'm
Welcome
excited.
to Island Mama After Dark.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, I'm gonna read a little bit of your bio. To
Okay.
be honest, like when I had started going through. So Ramona is a womb wellness specialist, and she focuses on healing and a heavy focus on the female reproductive system. Your whole, I guess you could say your what would be your how you started on this path was because of your struggle with
And then
adenosis.
meiosis.
See, I
Yeah.
didn't even know what that was. I know about endometriosis. So I went to Google
Mm-hmm.
to look it up, and it sounds incredibly painful. So tell me a little bit about your story. How did this
Okay.
start?
Okay. So, yes, I was diagnosed with adenomyosis when I was 29. I have always had painful periods and,
Mhm.
having some kind of issue, having cysts and some hormonal issue always, from
Right.
I started having my period. And so that was my norm. I didn't think anything was wrong with me or there was an issue. And I mean, we didn't really talk about it as friends. Like you might know one and two friends that have horrible periods, but you just had your period and you kept it moving, even though it might have been painful or whatever. I would say by the time I got to my first year in college, I started developing like cysts and that type of thing. Uh, I never really had reproductive issues when it came to fertility, when it came to
Mhm.
becoming pregnant. I became pregnant many times in my life. That was never an issue. But it seemed like there was always some hormonal imbalance, and my uterus just seemed like it wasn't strong or it wasn't as healthy as it needed to be. So being diagnosed with this condition after years of going to the doctor saying, hey, something is wrong, my sex is way too painful. I
Mhm.
only have one good week a month.
Right.
Ovulation is even more painful than sex is, than periods
Wow.
are. Like ovulation was the worst thing ever. And it wasn't until I had the miscarriage that they diagnosed me. And once they did, and I looked at, the different things, in terms of like the side effects or the symptoms of it, and realized that I had like everything but weight gain. Like I had every single thing on there. If there were 20 things, I had 19.
Mhm.
And so I kind of just said to the doctor, okay, so this is my situation. Thank God we've gotten to that, where we at least know that I have a condition. What do we do?
Mhm.
And my OBGYN said to me, well, we need to schedule a surgery because we need to remove your uterus.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Like, what? No. So as much as I thought about doing it and I planned it and I planned the date and everything, because I
Mhm.
was kind of at a place where I mean, whichever doctor I have, I mean, I'll trust the doctor. That's why he or she's my doctor. But I
Mhm.
trusted that that was the only option. And so I made plans for that. I made plans for the surgery. And a few weeks before the surgery, I don't know what happened, but like something just came over me and was like, listen, you can't do this. Like, even though you might not want any more children, you can't do this. You're never going to be the same. You're going to regret it. And so I decided I was not going to do that, even though my doctors definitely were not happy about that. And I took it to a holistic standpoint, right?
Mhm.
And changed my diet and really got into things that I did not know existed, like sound therapy and color therapy
Mhm.
and, all these different types of herbs and just a lot of different things. And in 2.5 months, I mean, removed the condition from my body, became pregnant with Reagan, and it has never come back since. And that's like eight and a
Wow.
half years ago, right?
Mhm.
So because of that journey, it started to make me think about other things, in terms of women. And because when you're going through it, you feel like you're the only one. But
Mhm.
now when I came out of it on the other side and looking back, I could see that, wow, there women suffer every day with something, with some painful something, with some uncomfortable something, when it comes to their periods or reproductive system. So I just developed this passion, this like crazy, crazy, crazy passion to just want to help women with like hormonal balance and periods. What else? What was beautiful? The other thing that was beautiful about it was in being pregnant with Reagan, I ended up delivering her myself.
Oh wow.
And yeah, like in the SUV, like, like,
That's the story.
yeah, like she has a crazy birth story. Like she's been moving ever since. Like she doesn't stay still at all.
Wow.
So like in delivering her myself and like us just connecting in that manner without anyone, without any light, without anything, and knowing that it was just us, it
Mhm.
created a whole nother thing. So I definitely do a lot of things with birthing as well. That is
Mhm.
also a passion of mine. But yeah, reproductive is definitely where it's at. uh I would say probably the first 6 months of doing this, of starting Cosmic Woman,
Mhm.
was when I got the name, the Vagina Lady. And
Mhm.
it literally just took off from there, and
I'm
so
gonna tell
it's,
you a joke because a friend of mine, actually a friend's husband of mine, said, Anika, you don't know the vagina lady? I'm like, no. Yeah, she's on Instagram and she posts all this stuff. Like, you need to check her out. It's a dude telling me this, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go and check. So I go over to Instagram, I'm like, oh, that's Ramona! Because we go back.
yeah. Somebody gave me the name, it stuck, and I just ran with it ever since. I was like, yeah, way to just like make a statement. Yeah.
So,
Sounds like
so
me.
we're here to talk about vaginas. We're here to talk about womb wellness. So explain what womb wellness is, because that's your focus. And then, of course,
Okay,
I know the folks want to hear about the orgasms. We're coming to that, but
we're
we have to
getting
lay the
there.
foundation.
Okay, so womb wellness is
Mhm.
basically a healthy reproductive system. And it doesn't mean fertility per se. A healthy reproductive system means your hormones are balanced, you have great periods, happy periods, um, and your hormones are balanced enough to where libido is not an issue, and all these types of things. You kind of feel like womb wellness is connecting with the entire woman, the entire self, on a physical level, on an emotional level, a mental level as well, and of course a sexual level, right? You can't do any healing from a holistic standpoint or anything or anyway if you don't always also tackle the emotional and the psychological or mental aspect as well. So
Mhm.
womb wellness is all of that. So we get into things like movement, for the reproductive system and pelvic floor strengthening and that type of thing.
Mhm.
Or is
Mhm.
it the uterus or balancing hormones or detoxing, the body or whatever the case is. So womb wellness is just a mixture of things that create a healthy reproductive system or achieving that.
And then how, because you touched on it's a all-encompassing health and wellness of the woman. How
Right.
how does womb wellness affect the psychological, mental, physical health of a woman? What's the connectivity there?
Okay, so when it comes to a woman that suffers from a reproductive condition or even just painful periods, maybe it hasn't turned into a condition yet.
Mm-hmm.
There is usually some depression, anxiety, stress, something along the lines that come with it. Especially when we get into things like a woman that's bleeding and she's been bleeding for 3 months straight. Like that woman is like mentally not here. She's emotionally stressed out. She feels like I hate being a woman. Or we can talk about the woman that has been trying to get pregnant for 10 years and it's not happening, and she have her whole heap of money and she all right and she good and her husband is ready and it's just not happening. And so she looks at herself and says, oh my God, my body's failing me. I'm flawed. I'm not a real woman. And so it digs down at, the ego or the self-esteem or any of those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
What also I would say is that because hormones affect emotion, some women, when they're going to get their period, they're like, yo, I'm the biggest bitch in the world. Like, yo, they've been talk to me. And then some get like really sobby and cry at like the slightest thing that they wouldn't usually cry about. So it's very connected.
That's me.
That's you? Yeah, it's very connected for sure. And then from another level, what I would say is that like something like fibroids, for example, fibroids are very emotional. Okay, it's a tumor, just like a cancer tumor, except it's benign, it's not malignant, right? So you will never die from fibroids, it being a tumor, unless some crazy thing happened. That's not normal. But because there was a tumor created, the people in the holistic world consider that an emotional block, an emotional issue that was not dealt with, and it festered. So it started from an emotional or psychological standpoint, and then it manifested into this physical entity, which is this fibroid inside of their womb. Because the heart and the womb, they work together. Right? If I'm healing a woman's uterus or fallopian tubes or whatever from the reproductive side, I always have to, her heart has to be tackled. There needs to be things that need to probably be released. Forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others. We walk around with a lot of trauma, sweep it under the rug and don't realize, that this is holding us back, because of course we're told that we have to be strong and we have to do it twice as good as the man, and we still might not get anywhere, but we have to be superwoman. And so it allows us to not necessarily connect with self per se and get down deep. So it is important for us to do that, so we can release some of the heaviness that weighs down on the womb, weighs down on the body.
So there's a lot of ancestral truths and roots to womb wellness. Give me a little bit of a history where that's concerned, because I mean, many of us have grown up where we were told by our grandparents or grandmothers or our mothers that we need to go sit down in this particular bath. So there is a nature around yoni steams and that kind of thing in our culture already. But tell me a little bit of the roots, the actual cultural explanations.
Okay, so I would say that between Africa and maybe the Asian side of the world, steaming was something that was done on a regular basis. There was something about the womb and connecting it with earth, and doing like red tent things where women would come together. They would have their period all at one time. They do all of these rituals. There was all of that going on. I would say between it depends, but this is just average, between the great grandmothers and our mothers. For a lot of us, not all of us, but for a lot of us, a lot of the things that they used to do, we lost. It was lost. And because of that, we are now we're just hearing about vaginal steaming and be like, oh, wow, what's that? When that has been around since Jesus was a boy. And what it was really around for was for postpartum, to help with the postpartum recovery, just like maybe like a sick bath or something like that. And then it like got lost and now it's come back. I would say that our generation is waking up a little bit, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're connecting a little bit more. You know, some of us are getting into planting, some of us are getting into maybe the foods that we eat, some of us are connecting with the moon and the stars, whatever the case is, you know,
Some of them
connecting
are
with our
taking it to the
ancestors.
levels of sex magic, like
Yes, yes, yes.
serious.
And by the way, sex magic is amazing. Can I please tell you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's all of that, all of that. But I would I would say that at the end of the day, from history, from the past, it was a time where women felt powerful. It was a time when they felt empowered. It was a time when they came together and they supported them one another and all of that when it came to all, you know, the reproductive system and periods and birthing and giving birth and breastfeeding, and it was just a whole thing, you know, a whole
Mm-hmm.
scenario that happened, and it continued, but it got lost with Western medicine, you know, and us as, you know, the Jamaicans that we are, we do like to be on the forefront and know and, you know, do the things that the English do and the Americans do and that type of thing. And so we got caught up in that because of course this was like real science, you
Right.
know, which is great. I mean, we need it. It's very important. But with it, with us learning about it and giving it its the recognition and respecting it, we also lost the other aspect as well. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
having both of them carry us along. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, yeah, it makes perfect sense. So we're gonna jump right off of that into the topic of discussion, um, which which was chosen very intentionally because I wanted something click worthy. Wanted people to like, oh, okay, let's see what
Oh
they're
yeah,
talking about
let's
over
chat about
here. So we're going to go straight in. Now that we've laid the foundation around wellness and why I think it's so important for us to have a larger conversation around orgasms. It's not just about, oh, let's teach you how to have the best orgasm ever, but it's really connecting mind, body, and spirit all about, right? And I thought that you would be the
right.
perfect person for this topic, madam. So tell us what is the orgasm? We know, most of us know, but what is the orgasm? Define it for the
Oh,
people.
okay. So orgasm is when some part of the genital area is stimulated. Now, orgasms can stretch, and there can be all different types of orgasms. We can have orgasms where we're not even touching each other. Okay, like let's say tantric sex or that type of thing. But orgasms are usually the release, the build up and the release, usually fluids as well are included,
Mhm.
a release of the sexual buildup that is created during sex. Um, there are four major orgasms that women will have,
Mhm.
which is clitoral, which is the most common, right? I would say 85% of women all have clitoral orgasms, if not more.
Mhm.
Maybe during sex or during masturbation or whatever. Clitoral orgasms are usually the to go. It's what women know. They have no issue. Okay,
Mhm.
most. There is then also penetrational orgasm. And a penetrational orgasm seems like it's much more difficult for some women.
Mhm.
If their clitoris is not being stimulated, then orgasm is not happening. I don't care how wonderful you're thrusting and moving and kissing me and telling me all the nice, wonderful things. At the end
Mhm.
of the day, I need my clitoris stimulated.
I think
Then
the
you
numbers is
have,
what, like 80% of women don't actually have an orgasm from penetration.
yes,
Something
yes.
like
And
that.
and so many women have never even had an orgasm and have been having sex since they were 16 and they're now 45 and they've never climaxed during
Y'all need
sex.
to be sending this video to the men in your lives.
Yes,
Not just for
it
the
is
women.
very, it's very important. It's really
Mhm.
important for the men to learn and to know too, but women also aren't talking. The majority of the women, when I talk to my clients and I'm like, how often are you having sex? Some say 10 times a week. I'm like, wow. And how many orgasms do you have?
Yeah.
Oh, none. And I'm like, so
Oh,
what the
whoa.
fuck?
They
What's the
got the
point?
points.
Like, I'm so confused.
Jinx. Like, why?
Huh? Why would
Exercise.
you do that to yourself? That sounds stressful. I don't know. I don't know. I feel bad for you. I don't know what's going on.
High blood pressure.
But a lot of women are not having orgasms, even if it's clitoral. It's like they get there, but then may it be their mind, may it be whatever the case is, it just goes away and fizzles out into nothing, right? So we have clitoral orgasms, we have penetrational orgasms. We also have something called a urethral orgasm, okay? And urethral orgasms a lot of times can stem from, clitoral stimulation, and then you get the squirting aspect. But the urethra itself can also orgasm separately and does not have that squirting result, right? And then of course you have anal orgasms. So it's really 4 main orgasms for women, and I really suggest, like, clitoral orgasms. They're great. You're broke, you feel good, you might want to sleep, you might whatever, but I promise you, penetrational orgasms are so much better. They it's almost like, what I could say is, it's almost like when you go and give birth to your baby, and after you give birth, you're tired and you can barely hold your baby, and you're just so glad that that whole birthing phase is over, and you're just like, oh, maybe, that type of feeling, versus feeling like, oh, I have energy, and now I can breastfeed, and I can't even sleep because the excitement is just
literally.
Yes. It's kind of the same thing in that retrospect. Because when you have a clitoral orgasm, a lot of times you can't continue. Not all women, but a lot of women, once they came from their clitoris, that's it. That don't wrap, don't touch me, brush against me, give me a second, let me chill. It's a lot of women. But you find that when you have a penetrational orgasm, you can go again. You're not so sensitive. Your body is not so sensitive.
Oh,
right.
That's interesting, because I mean, from my experience with some of the penetrational orgasms, but don't can't manage. I'm over.
You're not having clitoral stimulation during that?
Of course.
That's why.
I guess okay, then yeah.
That's why. If you have an orgasm when there's no clitoral stimulation, it's a completely different come.
So I want to talk about, since we're bringing this up right now, I mean, what's the difference between, how do men and women differ where the orgasm is concerned?
Okay, so of course, physically, when a man orgasms, he's going to, ejaculate, and there will be fluid that is released from him. Some women, they can do that as well, which would be called squirting. Other women, they release fluids, but it's not a gush of fluid. Men usually orgasm either clearly through their penis, or from that activity, or anal. Those are the 2. They have 2, we have 4 options, pretty much. That's pretty much the difference. And the fact that we can leak out. I mean, men can leak too, but it's very few men that can do that leaky come and continue. A lot of men, once they've come to, they're kind of like, so I would say there is a difference, but I would say the most difference is that we have more, we have 4 options, the kind of that we can work with, where they have 2. I would say that's probably the biggest issue. And then of course, men, it's much easier for them to climax. You know what I mean? In terms of, they learn their bodies early. They don't have any qualms about it. They don't feel uncomfortable. They don't feel like, they're bad or dirty because they're touching their penis.
It's a built-in toy from birth.
Yeah, and they love it. And we as women, we are completely different. Yes. Even as a child, because I remember when I started masturbating, I didn't even know it was masturbation. I must have been like 12. I didn't even know it was. I just knew that rubbing that was going to make me feel good. And I'd rub up on my pillow and rub up on all kind of foolishness, not knowing. Whereas a boy, he's doing that. He's quite content. He might talk about it with his friends, and he keep it moving.
Right.
We're shamed.
There's a lot of shame around it for women, as in just even getting to know yourself, or even looking at your vagina, and even the word vagina it's strange for women to say.
It is. It's being the vagina lady, it has made so many people uncomfortable. So many people. The word, I hope it's not me personally, but the word itself stresses people out. I remember my daughter, I just bathed my daughter and I was drying her off, right? And I was in Florida with my mom. And Reagan was like putting her hand on her vagina, right? I mean, she literally just had it there. And I mean, even if she was putting it inside, I wouldn't have stressed either. But she was just putting it on there. And my mother was like, no, you have to move away her hand. You can't make her do that and touch
Yeah, there's a
herself.
lot of shame.
And I thought
Mm-hmm.
to myself, wow, she born with her vagina. It's via her
Mm-hmm.
vagina. She got dead with her vagina, right?
But I
If
guess it's
she
also
can't touch it,
it's the pressures that your mom went through
went
as
through.
well, and that shame. So
Yes, it's
it's
passed on.
yeah, yeah.
It's passed on. We have got to, our generation has got to change that crap. It is
Mm-hmm.
creating, it is not allowing us to be able to really fulfill our fantasies and own certain things because we're so shameful of that. Like, how dare you like that? How dare you think about that? Don't tell anybody you like that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's not, there's no freeness. We should be
Yeah.
free.
So, well, speaking of freeness, so let's talk about multiple orgasms. So to explain that, because I actually came across, I've experienced it, but I've also come across some information that you can have. There's a difference between a multiple orgasms and like stacking orgasms. Like there's a, I don't know, there are like layers to this thing. So explain it for us.
Okay, so the stacking orgasms is going to be something more like I came a little bit. I didn't climax. I came. There's a difference. Okay. I
So it's a
came a little
build.
bit. I came a little bit. I came a
Mhm.
little bit. I came a little bit. Right. And that is what makes sex great too. The fact that you come a little bit, there's a little bit of something released, but you
Mhm.
continue and continue, and it just gets better and better. And then the buildup is there, and then oh my God, you explode. It's like over. Right. And then you have the multiple orgasms, which is different, which you have a full-blown orgasm,
Mhm.
full-blown, but then 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, you have another full-blown orgasm. Not all women do that or get to that place.
Mhm.
And I don't think it's
Mhm.
that they can't. I just think that we don't know our bodies enough. We don't allow it. You know, we get used to the feeling of okay, I come now, done.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think sex for a lot of us too is a job,
It's a
and a
service.
duty. Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
more than it is. This is something I'm doing for me, and I'm getting something out of it. And of course, a lot of times that's because women are not orgasming either, or they're just tired as rats from the whole day.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, that's a reality as well. But multiple orgasms is something that's a little bit harder to achieve, but they're all it's amazing. It's amazing. Stacking is also amazing. It's completely different. When we have sex, what we
Mhm.
always want to know is that, for example, if you're, like you're married, you have your man, you and your man there for 20 years, 10 years, whatever. We want to make sure that the sex is always different. We want to make sure that it never gets boring. So when it comes to the orgasms and seeing how your body reacts towards certain things and trying things new and different, you
Mhm.
realize that you now go to this other place. It takes you to another place. Don't be afraid of it. Don't, like, even with squirting, I realize women are so afraid. Like, they're having sex, they're feeling good, they like it, they feel like they want to pee, and then jump off and then or them tell the man, stop, don't do nothing. I feel like I need to pee. Hold on a second. No, go with it. Pee, bitch. Pee. Do it. Get it done. Work it out.
Hashtag P bitch.
Hashtag pee,
Wow.
bitch. And you realize that that release feels
Mhm.
so amazing,
Well, I
right?
want to ask
Don't be
you a
afraid of it.
question because I'm jumping in right there. Um, because there's always whenever you see like the threads about like female ejaculation, like people say, oh, but it's pee, and then some people say, no, it's not pee. Like, explain that, please.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I get this all the time.
This is
So
cool.
it is. It comes from the same place you pee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you were to test it, they would probably find small traces of pee, very small. But
Mm-hmm.
it is not this. It doesn't look like this. It doesn't smell like pee. It's nothing. It reminds you nothing of pee whatsoever. But it does come from that place,
Uh,
which is why you feel the pee urge before you will squirt.
I'm putting this comment up just to put it up. I couldn't help.
I can't imagine that, Nico. I can't imagine.
I love moms.
I love it.
Okay, all right. So we have a whole lot more questions about the orgasm, but I want to ask you, what are the health benefits? What are some of the health benefits of the orgasm?
Oh my gosh. Circulation, circulation, and more circulation. It is so healthy. Orgasms, masturbation, all of them are healthy because of the circulatory system. It's really important. Um, Circulatory is actually more important than we really talk about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because even with your period, you know, circulatory is important. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's a main factor.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say for sure one of the health benefits is the fact that, you know, the blood is flowing more. I would say also the release, that moment, and that release, that self. I think that is also healthy for, let's say, like our nerves,
Mm-hmm.
and mentally. It's, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the release. So I would say those things alone, those two things alone, are huge when it comes to orgasms. And then of course, just the feeling you have, just the fact that you pum pum happy and it nice and she glad. I mean, that's always a plus too. happy, happy freaking pum pum. Yes.
I love this conversation. Okay, so we obviously know that, I mean, when you look at the spin-off benefits of a happy boom boom and a happy circulatory system, then you have other health benefits like a healthier heart, better immune system. So
Clean,
young.
maybe cleaner blood.
Oh,
Because of
yeah,
course, the circulatory system is going to help that. You know, the blood is
true.
flowing more, it's moving faster throughout the body.
Okay, so you kind of touched on this at the get-go when we started talking. And I'm sure that you've come across this with your practice. Like, how many women have you come across? And I want the women who are listening or who may watch this video later to realize that they're not alone. But how many women have you come across who have never actually experienced an orgasm? There's a deep sigh.
An orgasm where it is not about masturbation, it's about with a partner, correct?
Yeah, with a partner. Yes, let's be specific.
I would say it's more than half.
Wow.
It's more than half that are not having orgasms. I would say probably 65%, 60% of women.
Damn. So it's about educating the men and the women.
Yes. Which is why I do this sex talk every Friday, right? Because, and it's really for the men. Because number one, the women, we're not really talking because, you know, we're not really comfortable with saying what we want and where to touch us, and we expect you to know that and that type of thing. Men need to know. They need to know. They need to be able to. For me, I have classes where I teach men to be able to read a vagina. Look at a vagina. Look at the whole pussy, all of it. The mound, the lips, the clit, the hood, everything. And from looking at it, you can know you know what she like. I don't necessarily want a woman, but I can look at a woman's vagina and say, oh, well, I know that if I spend a lot of time on her clitoris, and I know if I pull on her lips a little bit, and I know if I massage the mound of her vagina because of how full it is, that it is going to get her wet without me even having to touch the clit. Right? So being able to look at it and read a vagina is extremely important. On top of the fact that it's also important for us women to talk to and express ourselves. You know, say what you like, say what you don't like. You know, I know it's hard because you feel like, oh my God, he's going to think that him don't know what I'm a do and whatever, but make it
doesn't. He does
right.
not. He needs to learn. He does not.
Which is why you're going to express
so many angry women out there.
There are a lot.
Yeah, and there's no dialogue happening right there. So, but I mean,
the women are. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was saying it boils back down to a woman not being comfortable in learning about her own body as well.
Right, that is what the issue is. So she herself is not comfortable. She herself can't even talk about it or express it in any kind of manner. And so he's just doing his thing. You know what I mean? And the way that the men are socialized, it's you're getting there.
Yeah, see, they're saying we have to teach them. Got to. They don't know what they're doing. They don't
They
know.
have no idea. They have no, and it's so funny because I tell this to my gentlemen all the time. I say, you're eating out a woman, and she's pulling away from you.
Read that.
Like it's not because it's so amazing she wants it to stop, nigga. That's not the reason. You know what I'm saying? Like the reason is that it is too sensitive, or you're being too harsh, or you're staying on one place too long, or there's something happening that is making her pull back, right? So the men need to look at the woman's body language. Is she pushing herself towards you? Is she pushing away? Is she moving to the side? And if she's moving to the side, that don't mean you push up more. She's probably moving to the side to make it more. It's more pleasurable for her. Not that you need to go dig down more deep up in her. That makes sense. So yeah, it's important for us to talk because a lot of women really, Anika, aren't having the orgasms. They're not having them. And if they are, they're all clitoral, or it's only because of masturbation, or them have to go have them tie. And I'm not knocking toys. I mean, do your thing. Get your nut on, you know. But I find a lot of times that women who use a lot of toys at the end of the day really can't get the stimulation that they need from the man. They always then need a toy. So nothing is wrong if you want to spice it up every so often and use your toy or use your yoni egg or use your whatever. But you don't want that to have to always be a part of it. You know what I mean? You want to be able to know that that is just an accessory. It is not the main event.
I got you. So I want us to talk about the G-spot. Because I think that comes back into, well, penetration. And I think there's also a very big misconception that men have around the G-spot as well as women. So educate us on the G-spot, please, Vagina Lady, a wise one.
So
and we get to some questions popping up. Yay, come on.
Yay. Okay, so the G-spot itself, it is at the lower part of the vagina. Okay, it is not up clear by the cervix. Okay, it's at the lower part of the vagina, and it is more in the forward part of the vagina. So if you are inserting the vagina if you're inserting the finger in the vagina or the penis in the vagina or whatever, it is that cum motion. It is going like this, is pushing up, right? Because that is where that spot is. For some women, depending on, you know, their cervix and how long that is and all of that, where it might be there might be a difference a little bit. Like, you know, like maybe mine is like 4 inches and yours is 2.5 or something like that. Now, a lot of people put this extraness on this G-spot thing, right? And I think it's kind of overrated. I think if you're talking about squirting and you just want to get a woman to squirt, or a woman wants to get herself to squirt, then this G-spot place, which I'm talking about, which you're doing this cum thing inside, that definitely is going to hit that spot and allow you to do that. Okay? But when it comes to sex, right, we want to be able to know that we can come from all kinds of spots. There are all kinds of folds. There are all kinds of niceness, right? I don't know how many women on here have had sex, and when they have sex, it's almost like their man find a new spot. It's like a spot where it never goes yet, and it's not a matter of it being far deep. It's just like it's like this little nook or this little cranny that is untouched, and then you just want him to stay right there because you don't know what that place is, but you love it, and he himself feel it as well, especially if he's not like just fucky, but he's responding and listening, watching your body, right? when he responds, you find that there are different parts. So his penis is going to respond, right? Which means he's going to get more swollen. So now he's in this area that he's never been. It feel nice, it feel all kinds of whatever. Everything I get stimulated. All he's doing is swelling up because he feels what you are, like the reaction off of what you're feeling. And everybody wins.
Right.
So when we come to talking about the G spot, yeah, there's a spot called G spot, there's a spot called C spot, there's a spot called A spot, there is a whole heap of spots, right? That is the least of the issue. What we want to go into is the fact that we are toning or awakening the vagina in a way where no matter what spot, no matter where it is, there is stimulation, right? That I think is more important than focusing on this whole G spot situation.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, even if you have your orgasms from G spot, after a while you want to have a different orgasm. You don't always want it there. You know, and that's what makes sex good, especially if you're if you have a husband or a partner that you've been with for a long time. Like, you want it to be different. You want to bring more elements to it. So just trying to hit the G spot all the time, I wouldn't necessarily stress and spend my time worrying about that.
Okay, so this brings me to my next question. In terms of achieving amazing orgasms with or without a partner. Because we spoken, I mean, we touched on toys just briefly.
Right.
I mean, with or without a partner, how can a woman now experience an amazing orgasm with or without help?
Okay, so I think the first thing that women need to do is spend time and just touch their vagina. I don't mean rub it. I don't mean stick nothing in there, nothing. Literally just cup your hand and place it over your vagina and lie there for about 15 minutes.
Feel the power of the pussy.
Feel the power of the pussy, right? Allow yourself.
I'm not hearing you. Your audio just dipped. During this whole pum pum power segment, you just gone. What happened?
You're not hearing me?
I'm hearing you, but you're really low all of a sudden. Like the audio just shifted. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure. Wait, talk again?
I don't know what happened, but you sound lower too.
No. I can hear you now. Just keep going. Uh-oh. We lost Ramona for a second. She will be back, guys, because we're talking about the power of the pussy at this point in time. And what we were just touching on, here we have her back. You're back.
Yeah. Back.
Yes.
In full effect.
Cupping, touching, holding.
Yeah. So you're gonna cup it, you're gonna put your hand on your vagina, and you're just gonna see what happens. You know what I mean? What does she do? Does she twitch? Does she stay still? Does she inhale, exhale? What happens? Just touch it, hold it, cup her. Then you can start getting into what feels good. I definitely usually recommend for women to kind of touch and massage and rub, like where the pelvis meets where the thigh meets the pelvis, and kind of just massage there and touch there. Use some oils if you need to. Just help to relax the pelvis. It's really important for the pelvis to be relaxed, right? What I would also say after that is learn to touch yourself. Touch the clitoris. You know what I mean? Pat her sometimes, rub her sometimes. Maybe you might want to use some oil or something like that, depending on what it is that you want. But it is really important for you to touch yourself and learn yourself and know yourself, right? The more you know is the more that you can tell somebody else what it is that you want, or just to pleasure yourself in general, right? When it comes to the toys itself, right? I think it's important that if it is that you want something inserted or you want something to vibrate to use, that you do that and you knock that out the park. What I would say is that can become an addiction, just like how porn can become an addiction and all these other things too. So please create balance. Make sure you create balance, because sometimes it's all about the toys. and we don't want to overstimulate the body like that to where a simple, rub and caress and thing can't get you to that place. You need one bag of excitement, overstimulation. We don't want to overstimulate it at all.
So there's a question here which I think is relevant to what you're saying now. So her question is, well, you can read it. I think, how can she
guarantee
an orgasm?
Like an orgasm. Like I feel like all of the accidents, because sometimes you just hit and miss, even with myself. It sounds like you could be a little bit in your head. And not just relaxing and just going with it. If you don't put on music when you have sex or when you masturbate, I would suggest you do that. It might get you a little bit out of your mind. I also would say that doing things a little different, maybe putting on something sexy, maybe doing it in a different place. Bedroom is not always come on, guys. You have the whole damn house. You have outside. You have, don't underestimate outside. Outside is the shit nick. Okay, that is a fabulous. You as a matter of fact, you can do it outside. Don't even have an orgasm, and it's all right. Because it was so good. Under the moon, underneath the stars, underneath the people them tree, anything. Yeah, we can get it done.
We're getting into sex magic now.
Exactly. Perfect sex magic situation. Perfect.
I think we need a whole conversation, a whole lot of video just on sex magic.
No, we do. It will take up. It will definitely take up a whole session.
Interested in learning more about sex magic? Drop some stuff in the comments, because I know some ladies we can bring into this convo, and it would be fun as hell.
We need to do it.
I have one more important question on this topic, and this is for women who are either in menopause or approaching menopause, and how that can affect the libido. So, what insights would you have around that?
I would say that women's libido starts to get affected by about 32 average. So it's even before menopause. Libido is lower than it should be. And of course, that again is hormonal. That's hormonal issues. So I would always suggest trying to figure out ways to balance the hormones, maybe holistic ways or not. What I would also say is when it comes to menopause, for a woman that is suffering from menopause, because you have some that, maybe they might just have the dryness, or you have some that might just have like this constant bleeding and the bleeding just can't end, or maybe they have hot flashes, or maybe they have all of the above. That will shift, her want and need for, sexual pleasure. But the best way to help libido is always to balance your hormones. We're talking about cinnamon. You cannot eat or drink enough cinnamon. Cinnamon is amazing for the libido. Amazing. And it's amazing for balancing the hormones in general. Okay. So I would definitely recommend doing that. I would say as well, usually when the libido is low, you definitely want to do a detox. Okay. The detox really helps to balance the hormones, because a lot of the toxins and the waste and a lot of these things are removed. So the hormones can actually breathe. They can actually just, versus being tied down because of the toxins and the waste. So I would definitely recommend at the end of the day, balancing the hormones. That is the key. Don't try to work through it. If you balance the hormones and you drink a little cinnamon tea, or you drink a little red clover, or you drink some of these things or any of that, you will find that the libido will be better. Even red maca. Red maca is really good for heightening the libido.
You're getting some feedback. Yeah, someone saying cinnamon is amazing.
It is. It's really.
So we have a couple of questions, and I want to go to the questions in the comments quickly. So we have this one here. How to clear a mental block about squirting. This is exactly what we just spoke about.
Yeah. So definitely coming out of your head is very important, right? And you do that in all kinds of ways, just like in masturbation or anything like that, so if it's music you want to play, whatever kind of distraction it is that you can create would be good. What you also want to do is just relax, just relax, enjoy it. Yes, you feel like you want to pee, you thought you needed to pee. As we said, Pee, bitch. Get it done. Work it out.
Get
Don't
it
stress
done.
about it. Get it done. Don't over analyze. Don't overthink. Just enjoy it for what it is. And if you find that that keeps happening, where you get to that place but it's not happening, in terms of the squirting or the whatever the case is, um, I would say you're probably still in your mind, because
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't be in that. You should, if you are out of your mind and you are relaxed, then you shouldn't have a problem at all.
Somebody plug in your detox stuff in the group. They clearly been to you already. That they can get the detox stuff from you, Cosmic Woman. We have another question here. Since I delivered twice, my outside doesn't feel like it used to, meaning touching outside and the rim of the vagina doesn't do what it used to before delivery. This one, what would you recommend?
Okay. All right. So anytime after birthing, okay,
Mhm.
I always suggest making sure that women do vaginal steaming. Okay. The reason why is it helps with a lot of healing, right? But there's something about vaginal steaming in general that really like relaxes the vagina, but then it plumps it up because of the heat. So the circulation, and then it's extra wet and it's extra warm and
Mhm.
that type of thing that can help that situation, right? Um, you also have to remember that when you're coming from postpartum, your hormones are all over the place, right? So you want to make sure that your hormones are balanced. Get on a postpartum prenatal vitamin. Don't go on a prenatal one. You have baby already, you're not pregnant anymore. There are things that you need that are not in a prenatal.
Mhm.
Okay. Get on a postnatal. Um, I would say also get on some red raspberry. That can really help as well. That would be great. Um, Maybe there needs to be more foreplay that's happening. Okay, we
Mhm.
need to remember that foreplay is important. We need to let our mates know foreplay is important. Foreplay is not 5 minutes. He needs to spend
Yeah.
time, and he needs to gently peel the layers back of your vagina, awaken it, swell it up. He should be wet. You should be wet before he enters. You should be wet before you want to enter yourself. Okay, it's really
Mhm.
important to make sure that happens so that there's a longevity of the sex. You know, feel like your belly button gonna drop out and your
And
boom boom
foreplay doesn't
sore and
only
it
have
dry.
to be physical; it's mental as well. I mean, the
It is
sex.
always going to be mental. Mental is
Yeah,
so
it's
important.
not gonna work if you stress out or if the laundry
No,
is do or it's you're not there mentally. We have another question here. What can cause loss of, I would say, loss of desire for sex?
hormones. Okay, like some of it, of course, can be trauma. Some of it can be the fact that okay, I have much more responsibility than I've had in a while, so I'm trying to like, you know, figure out how I'm gonna do that. But majority of the time, usually, it's that the hormones aren't balanced, so the libido is
Mhm.
extremely low.
So I want you to tell folks where they can find you because we're almost out of time. And these ladies, that I'm sure they have lots more questions. But I love this woman. We need to have a glass of wine. I came prepared this time, but we need to
Yes,
ask her.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. Cheers, my love.
Mhm.
Okay, so you can find me on IG. My business page is Cosmic Woman, CosmicWombman. I'm also on IG as the Vagina Lady, which is more of my personal page, but I do post some things when it comes to, reproductive or pregnancy or whatever that is. I am also on Facebook, Cosmic Woman. So you can reach me anywhere in terms of that. If you guys are in Jamaica and you want to reach out, maybe a consultation, maybe questions, maybe anything at all, you can call me at 406-2764. And if you are in the US or anywhere else in the rest of the world, you can call me on 803-269-7587. We have a yoni toning class next week, which is toning the vagina and awakening her. When you're
I'm
done, you're going
Googling
to be
right
horny
now.
as hell, I promise. And you're gonna feel good, and it's great. So if you guys want to, please send me a message about that. So you guys can tune in for that. That will be on Zoom next week. Not this time, but next week, Saturday.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Ramona, for joining
Thank
us.
you, Anika. Thank you. And you know we need to get together, right?
Definitely.
Don't mess around.
Just a personal one-on-one. It's long overdue. We have
it is. Even if we have to drag the picnic
part two. People want to know when it's part 2. We will come back because I'm bringing her back.
We will come back to that. Whenever it is that you're ready for part 2, you know how to reach me. So let's do it.
I'm definitely going to be back for part 2. I want to make a quick announcement. So next week, starting next week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, we have our first sponsored live video series, and that is going to be courtesy of Brunswick. It's called The Mom Show. Mom being mindfulness, openness, and momentum. And for each of the days, we're going to be focusing on one of those topics. And Tuesday is going to be about mindfulness, and we're going to have advanced teacher of therapeutic yoga, Trishan Houghton, on, and she's going to be talking about creating a mindfulness practice for yourself and for your kids, and her personal story. And this mom show is especially for the single moms. So the single moms need a whole lot of extra love right now. So Brunswick saw it fit to do this and partner with Island Mom. I'm so excited. This is our first one.
I love it. It's beautiful.
So I want you guys to come back. I'll be sending more updates, and we're excited. But thank you so much again, Ramona.
Thank you for having me, my darling. I appreciate you. You're doing great stuff. I love it. I love it. This was very needed. It's very needed.
Thank you.
So you're doing great. I love it.
Thank you. Well, we'll be back with part 2. We have to.
Okay.
Have to deliver ladies.
Sounds good.
All right.
Night, honey. Have a great rest of the weekend.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, honey. Bye. Bye, guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye, guys. Have a great night.